Welcome to my mudroom, and I'm going to be explaining some of the things that are in here and how I did them. This is a very special room because I did everything from scratch, and it was when my child was under 1, and so everything was very slow. I ended up having to do everything during nap time actually, and have the little sound thing where you hear them if they're up or not going on while I gently screwed some things in. So I'm going to be going over the whole thing, and I hope you guys enjoy. This was a completely new construction. The mudroom didn't exist at all. We actually hired someone who subcontracted a carpenter. Cool side note, we used American chestnut beams to match the existing barn structure. That was a fun process and an interesting backstory because American chestnuts are actually extinct. So it's very fascinating history and legacy, and to reclaim the wood for buildings is definitely. We ran into a huge problem when the guy we hired to do the footings hit the septic pipe leading to the septic tank and decided to just fill it with concrete. As you can imagine, this was an absolute disaster. So we spent about a month taking care of that, which I would honestly like to wipe from my memory. But with a lot of work and a lot of negotiation, I guess we got it done and resolved the issues to a degree and came back to the project. Because of the septic tank issue that happened, we found ourselves being a little bit tighter with budget because a lot of that went to mismanagement. But we painted things on our own and put up the siding and the sheetrock. We use mold-resistant sheetrock, which is green, and put insulation in, all that basic stuff, and got ready for the fun detailing. It might have been because we didn't have a budget to hire a carpenter to do the casement, and I had to do it myself and go to YouTube and ask contractors how to do it. I ended up doing my own thing with no formal training, and I personally like it. It works. I used a lot of recycling. Instead of getting simple, straight pieces of wood, I just went out and got picture frames and old parts of chairs, and I just shoved them in little places and put some wood putty to fill it in, and it wasn't perfect, but it gives this beautiful effect in my opinion. This one's a good example. I dumpster dived to get these feet off of a Victorian couch that was being thrown away. I saw them off the couch, and I just put them as the base of my shelf that I put my boots on. The side of the shelf that I created is an old armoire that was being thrown away. It was probably from the 1800s. The other side of the mudroom, I created these symmetrical shelves, and the edge of the shelves is finished with this old column that was I believe it was from a circus, and it had these like circus colors. Of course, they were repainted, and it was just really a cool effect that went with the mismatched feel of the whole room. I stopped at the side of the road to pick up these drawers that was from a crumbling dresser, and they're not Victorian, but they're faux Victorian, and they're perfect for the application under the Victorian couch that I was putting in. So this was a perfect thing for the a mudroom to sit down and put on your shoes. And it looks, in my opinion, really cool. I even like the asymmetry of the couch. It gives a more whimsical vibe to the... I also wanted to tie in the outside with the inside. And the outside, there's a lot of cobblestone path and slate paths. So when you look outside, I want it to kind of continue. So I decided to do a step up, a place to put plants, and do a little stone wall with a heating pad underneath. The finished product, I have mixed feelings about. I might have to do another top on it because I think I overthought it and made it so the water kind of stays there and doesn't drip down, which was a mistake. So there are some mistakes with it, but it does keep the plants warm in the winter with heating the ground on a little thermostat on the wall. So I am pleased with that. And it does have this pleasant effect with tying in the inside and the outside together. I got more and more creative. I had these wonderful kind of the feet of a chair and the armrests of a chair that were carved, and these elaborate carvings, and the chair was just crumbling. It was a Victorian chair. It couldn't, I mean, I guess some people could save it, but in my opinion, it wasn't worth saving. So I sawzalled the beautiful, fine craftsmanship of the wood carving, and I stuck them to the wall to hold plants. Later, I decided that it looked actually really cool, and it might be fun to do a propagation station with bell jars, and it was like the best thing I ever done. They look so cool, and they really do a great job propagating certain varieties of plants. Jasmine, love it, and so do hydrangea. So I really am glad I decided to do this. Because of my dumpster diving addiction and some of the renovations going on, I used a lot of old wood and reclaimed stuff and added detailing such as this crisscross pattern using the wood and just creating kind of a dimensional effect once it was painted. I then used an extra piece of plywood and did this kind of beginnings of an Art Nouveau project I want to do with it by doing a whimsical Art Nouveau pattern on one side using tracing paper to make it symmetrical. In the future, I want to do a lot more with it. I had the electrician put a light behind it, a fluorescent kind of light I was thinking of using for plants. Maybe I might do succulents cascading down under it. But I really want to do a Art Nouveau pattern with dremeling the Art Nouveau design in some wood, and then in the gaps of the Art Nouveau design, I want to do a silk painting of some sort because I really love silk painting. I also love stained glass, but the price of stained glass has gone through the roof, and I am very interested in silk painting and some of the products I see with lampshades. So I want to do a kind of Art Nouveau twist with that, and I'm excited for that. That might be another video on this channel in the future, so stay tuned. I decided to paint everything in the room, including the fine woodwork, green, because the wood, all different kinds of woods were being used, and it was just kind of a hodgepodge. I needed it to be uniform. I decided to go with green, a dark green, because I wanted this room to be about plants, and from Gardener's World, which I love, BBC Gardener's World, they always talk about to showcase plants you need a darker color such as a dark green or even a black. And I felt like I wanted this to look like a forest. You know, you look out into this room and you see these plants, and it really makes the plants pop and be the star of the show. I chose 3 different kinds of greens to give it kind of a dimensional look. I used a glossy, like kind of yellowish green. I used a bluish I believe it was like a shell green, and I used a very matte green, which was actually chalkboard paint green. So you could also draw on the chalkboard, and that was really kind of cool because I used the back of the old armoire that was being taken apart, and you could now write on it, and that's pretty cool. Because the room was so dark, I decided a little too late to do tin roof. I first decided to do a recycled job, but that was just a headache and it wouldn't work, so I went to Amazon and I found these really incredible tin that you could buy that looks just like the classic tin you get in New England, and I proceeded to do a tin roof over sheetrock, which was a mistake because you should be putting down wood, but it worked out beautifully and I have no regrets. I even used the recycled tin on a shelf that the bottom of the shelf, so it kind of matches and looks beautiful. Now, I might have gone a little overboard with the next project, but I don't know. I'm still working on it because it's more difficult. It was kind of an afterthought. I had some beautiful tile that was handmade, and I decided to put it on the ceiling. Now, yes, I'm still working on this. I do like it, although no one ever notices it because it's in a very strange spot, but I notice it and I think it's beautiful. And it's probably going to be a week to do when I thought it would be a couple of hours, but the things you do for your own happiness and beauty. Someday I will finish the project. I added some decorations, some of them personal, such as this fire crown I used to perform with jewels that I tied into a frame I made. It lights on fire, so the jewels got a little dirty. Plants I bring in, such as this jasmine in the winter, peacock feathers, Buddha heads, and even a fake bird that reminds me of Disney World's Hawaiian kind of room. I forgot the name of it, but it sings and attracts birds sometimes, which can be a little bit. Now I have a lot of unfinished projects in this already busy room, one of it which is to do cabinet covers for the shelves so you don't see inside the shelves, and I have a lot of visions with that. I want to do custom Art Nouveau tiles to inlay into the cabinets. And I don't know how to do cabinets, and I don't know how to do tile. And I want to do a kiln for the outside to cook my tile in. So it's layers of projects that might be a disaster, but I really want to do it. So I will have to do a video update in the future. Stay tuned for that. I hope you enjoyed this room tour. This is my first, and if you do like this, please like and subscribe and comment and all that jazz. So until the next one, have a beautiful day.